Hi guys, this is your boy Classic Cass, aka Casimiro Sithole, and we are back with another podcast. It's been long, eh? It's a new year, and this is the first ever podcast of 2025 that we're recording. The last time we recorded was last year, and I'm not rolling alone, by the way. I've got guests that are joining us today. I've got the best teacher in Gauteng at 2024, and I've got, I'd say, this is the best learner at 2024 as well. So I'm gonna let them to introduce themselves before give one to the wrong.
Alright, Mr Mahlatse, known as David. I work as a professional educator based in Alexandra, and it's good to be in the new year.
It's good to be in the new year.
It's very great.
So my name is Mulisa. I'm a former matriculant from Real High School 2024.
Okay, I feel like I can add where I'm from a matriculant 2019. So just not to waste time, I'm going to jump straight into it because today the Matric Results, we'll be breaking them down, the national and also the locally, right, in terms of what we achieved as a country. Firstly, I'd like to give a shout out to the class, the class of 2024, for what they achieved last year, because it has never been done before. We failed to do it as the class of 2019, and they did it. I mean, they achieved an average pass mark of 87.3%. So that's a milestone actually. Right now we've never reached it, they reached it. So shout out to them. If you are watching, you can give them a round of applause because I can't see you actually. And then to kickstart with the first question that I have here, because it's about an interview actually, not a very, very formal interview, but an interview. So the first question that I have, said David, you can answer it, Mulisa can answer it as well. Are we good to go?
No, we are good to go.
We're good to go, ne?
Perfect.
So not the one that I want to know, right? It's focusing on the 1 year national, for example, right? Because if more people are passing as well in the country, it means the varsities are going to have an influx. They're going to have a lot of learners that are coming in. So with the one of us achieving 87.3, from 82.9 that we had in the other year, in the class of 2023. I'd like to know from you, sir, what is it that you think contributed to us achieving this feat?
I think one of the most important experiences that we have gone through over the years is the hunger for education has grown, and now the idea of what education has made people to become has now become glamorized, and more people want to be educated. And also by demand, popular demand, you learn that most of the spaces where there are opportunities, they would say you need to have a basic matric certificate. Hence, you find that everyone would always want to say, no, I don't want to exit my 18-year journey without having a matric certificate. They start their schooling somewhere at age 5, and some end at 17, if not 21 on average, but they wouldn't want to leave without having something solid that can make them economically viable when they get outside.
And Mulisa, from a learner's aspect, from a learner's aspect.
Yeah. So what I think is that this year we had a lot of resources. I mean, the support that we were given from teachers, the government, and also just people out there. I mean, YouTube, we do have an explanation of anything that we need at any time. So if you cannot contact a teacher at night, you can just consult from YouTube and you understand what you have to understand in any time that you want. So the main point that might have improved the results of this year from all other years is the resources that we have nowadays.
The resources that we have, right? Talking about the resources, I can remember Gauteng, and I mean all the provinces believe that Gauteng has got all the resources. But if we check on the number that Gauteng has achieved provincially or nationally, we did not get number 1 as Gauteng. We took position number 3. Even the other year we took position number 3. Number 1 has been Free State for quite some time now, and KZN again took position number 2. What do you think contributed to us getting that position of number 3, not position number 1 as Gauteng?
Well, with the Gauteng, if you compare Gauteng with other provinces, you'd learn that we have more clustered areas in Gauteng than in other spaces. So the issue that starts at grade 12 actually emanates from your level of grade 8, where there's overcrowding, and in that space, you are not able to cater for the majority with high quality service in a manner that you are able to give individualized support to all of the learners from a younger age. So the only time we're able to get to give them the support is when they're at the grade 12 level. And now they are found to be working under pressure, and then it's a competitive environment. So I think also high number of enrollments in our schools in Gauteng, that also contributes to that deviation, because there will be movement between provinces, where somebody is coming from another province and into Gauteng, then to learn the culture, adapting into that new environment, and plus different socio-economic issues that society is facing. The dynamics that are within our township may not be the same as in a village. Villages can look as underprivileged, but because there's fewer people, whatever they have is enough for them. But here, we are clustered with so many people, so even if we look to have so much, it's still not enough.
So also, okay, besides focusing on Gauteng only, if we come back to regional, or if we come back to our township, Alex, for example, right? I mean, in 2023, right? Yes. In the class of 2023, the lowest in Alex that we had was 68.2. And for the class of 2024, the lowest that we had is 76.7. And also, so I want to understand this, that in terms of our pass rate in 2023, what contributed to a lot of schools not getting higher pass rate compared to 2024, because there was a quite huge improvement in 2024 in Alex on its own, besides focusing on national.
The dynamics in Alex are quite different annually. So depending on what society is experiencing that particular year, you'd learn that since the years of COVID, 2020, there was a decline in the quality of pass overall. So over the years, there was protest, shutdowns, outages of services like water, sometimes electricity supply. These contributed highly to the level of performance that we had experienced. You consider that last year, towards the end of May, the challenges of electricity were not as severe as they were the other years. I think we only anticipated shutdowns, and none of those materialized. So there were no disruptions that caused any difficulties for learners to go to school. So there was enough or ample time for attendance, because that is how most of the resources are able to be used from school level when there is contact time, sufficient contact time.
Contact time, yes. Mulisa, do you have anything to add on that?
I think you've said it.
Instead of everything said, David, ne? Okay. I mean, so the other thing that I want to ask here for people who are watching, and also for myself, right, is in terms of the exams that are being written now. I mean, I heard that the class of 2024 is the first class to write, which got the foundation from grade 10. They were not affected that much by COVID-19 compared to the other classes, which wrote Matric after 2019. So I want to know, in terms of the quality of the exams that they are writing, is it back to normal before COVID, or it's different?
Well, the quality of the examination, the assessment unit has not gone down. It's still the same standard. The excuse that we could not have is that there is COVID. Even during COVID, it is just how people get the information, and when you are informed, you would know this is how I get support if I'm not able to get into school. And you would know that the disruption of COVID only reduced the amount of hours learners are spending in school. It did not disrupt schooling in general, because there were interventions planned, whereby instead of schooling happening once daily, it would happen maybe in alternations depending on the arrangements per schools. So if we were to say the quality of the examination, it is still of the exact same standard, and it's actually the great quality that can produce people we are looking for in the economy.
Okay, so we, the class of 2019, and the other people that wrote Matric before COVID, have no excuse to say that the results that we achieved just because our exams were hard.
Yes, You know, maybe I will give it to Mulisa because he's the one who mentioned the issue of resources, technology.
Yes.
Everyone who comes across a new experience,
yes,
they think their experience is difficult because the previous one already there is a pre-exposure. They already saw that. They think it's ours, it was the tough one. Then the next year group will be like, this one, they saw nothing. Right now we saw flames, because we always have this thing about the new experience for us because we're not ready for that. We feel it's difficult.
Yeah, but honestly speaking, I've been practicing using previous question papers and so on. I feel like this year's exams were easy because everything that you have, I don't know, maybe they were not easy, but they brought like the same structure. Everything was just the same from previous years. So I would support his point to say that the standard is still on the same quality, and I think there's just a little change which make 2024 examinations a little bit difficult because the high order questions were very trapping.
So I want to know because you're a former learner from Ralo Hill, right? And we've got David from Ralo Hill.
Yes.
And Ralo Hill, Alex achieved position 1. I mean, with great pass rate as well. It's not low pass rate. And also I heard rumor has it that they have a lot of bachelors and a lot of distinctions.
Yeah, I think we have 90 of them.
90 of them?
Yeah, out of 178 learners who wrote.
And that's more than half? That's, yeah.
Almost half of them were bachelors. And then the pass rate is 93.
93?
Yes. And then, with that, you would tell, the 7% of people who were not able to make it is because the quality was the same, but the level of preparation was not the same. The level of preparedness, they were prepared. They will even tell you, no, the paper was easy. There's no such as easy. When you are ready, everything becomes easy.
When you are ready, everything becomes easy. If you're not ready, if you do not prepare enough, everything is difficult. There'll be complaints there and there.
Yeah, it's like when you are not anticipating to see a kid who's hiding around the corner. If they just come and give you a shower, you will be scared because you are not expecting anyone. Even if it's a small child. But because you are expecting them, likely you are not to even move or panic. Yeah.
So with achieving that high pass rate, right, and also getting position 1, is there no pressure this year, because this year is a different year for class of 2025 and for the teachers to maintain a high pass rate and also to maintain the position?
Right. In every space, maintenance is a continuous thing. If we don't maintain from the beginning, it's not gonna work out for us. What we achieved was not because we were trying to get there. It is because of the hard work that has been put together. That is going to continue. And then also, what we achieved is how the team was thinking, how we made the learners think. And if that is the thinking that they're going to carry out, trust me, we are going to always come up with better results, regardless of the position. Ours is to compete against ourselves by making sure that our thinking is much better than what we had last year. Because years are not the same. We might come across different challenges, but our state of mind, we are ever ready for such challenges.
And also, so with the subjects that are being taught in schools, I think we've got those subjects that learners fail a lot.
Sure.
Subjects like your maths, subjects like your physics in the science stream. And then if it's the general stream, it becomes your maths leads, and then if it's the commerce, it's accounting. But last year it looks like it was not a big challenge, right? For a lot of learners, it looks like those subjects, majority of them, managed to pass them in a good way. So I want to know that in terms of those subjects, when it comes to improvement, what strategies were used to ensure that a lot of learners pass in terms of getting better results?
Sure. I believe in time, actually.
Yes.
We maximize contact time. We make sure that during contact time, we do what is right. Early arrivals, making sure no one is late, because when you get an idea, when somebody says yes already, you would seek an explanation. So if you're on time, then there is no delay. Time lost was minimized. We used most of our Sundays. We made sure that we encourage learners to also add 2 hours for each subject every day, which I believe they took their advice, because that is what they would also do. And also seeking evidence. For example, when you are given an activity, you go to write the date and the time when you're doing that activity. So that
time as well.
Yes, you can account to me that if I sleep late, like 12 o'clock, I was busy writing whatever, or my notes, I am writing them at 12. Why would you sleep at 12 and still not do well?
It does not make sense. It does not make sense.
Maybe from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
And also another point is the situation.
Yes.
What I mean is, I think my school made sure that each and every student was probably going to grade 12 in grade 11, 2023. They made sure that everybody is on the right stream. They make sure that people who are failing on the science stream, they are going to a stream where they will pass. I think more than a half of my class, the science stream, last year, on the previous year, was changed to do streams that the teachers think those streams are perfect for them. So that also helped us produce these results, because people be doing sciences because of pressure of friends, and some of them do be doing the sciences because of what family says. Like, hey, in my family, in our family, nobody did history in the past, so you cannot be coming up with new things. Everybody in this family does
Science.
and then they end up following that, and then it's a disadvantage for learners. So my school forced everybody who could learn to certain subjects to subjects that they could do.
Maybe it's still on that. I mean, we've got learners that are doing grade 10 this year. It's their first year, right? And we've got the ones who are doing grade 9 this year, who will have the opportunity to choose the subjects that they want, the streams that they want next year for grade 10. What advice would you give to them? Because right now you're talking about the pressure from the family. I was saying that we all did science, we have to do science, we have to follow in our footsteps. We all did commerce, we have to do that as well. So what advice do you have for parents whom do that, maybe, who advise their children to follow in their footsteps, whereas those children are not good maybe in subjects like natural science, because it leads to you to doing science if you're doing natural science?
So honestly speaking, I went to grade 10 with my natural science, which was a level 3. I went to grade 10 with my mathematics, which was level 2. But then I knew what I wanted, and I knew that if I put some effort in this work, I will make it. So you have to sit down with your own self. It's not even about parents forcing you. You have to sit down and research about what you want. If you know that I want to be in this field at the end of the day, and this field need me to have mathematics and sciences, even though you don't know anything there or you are failing those subjects, but if you tell yourself that I will try by all means to improve, go there and try by all means to improve. There is no way that you will be in grade 9. As long as, I always tell people that as long as you know how to read and write, that's the most important thing you need. Because if you can read and write, which means you can understand, you just have to do it in a way that you will end up understanding. The strategy that you use matters the most, because we are different as people. You don't want to be like somebody else in class who just does maths once and they get to understand it, because you know yourself that I have a level 2 in maths. I have to do it more than once. I have to do it more than twice for myself to get it. You understand? So you just have to know yourself. It's not about parents, it's about you at the end of the day.
So, Sir David, in terms of the learners themselves, right? We've got learners who come from grade 11 and you know that they were underperforming, or maybe they did not meet the minimum requirements to pass for both subjects, like your maths and physics. Maybe let's say they failed one of them and then they passed one of them, and allow them to go to grade 12, right?
Yes.
In terms of the extracurriculum activities for them, right, and also the teaching strategy for them. What kind of teaching strategy do we use for children or learners whom did not pass properly in a previous grade, the ones that we know that they are struggling, for them to do well in grade 12?
we help learners develop habits. And you learn what a habit is an intersection of three things. You must have knowledge, a skill, and maybe the desire to do something. Learners must develop interest in being part of something, because it's not always going to be a smooth ride. So sometimes, because you have the desire to do something, then that is the reason you will not give up. We always allocate tasks and make sure that we allow them to take up responsibility in making sure that when they do not attend, we do follow-ups. So because we made sure that there's attendance, maximum attendance, and my supervisor would always say to me, you teach and you test them, teach and test them, until you find out what is the problem. And when you put in the intervention, you know that these people are now ready to face the exam. And now also allowing them to go through an exam paper, maybe more than 10 times. I actually advise them that if you have not seen an exam paper 49 times, then you're not ready to write. Because when you're writing for the 5th time, so that will not be a problem, because it's not the first time. It's not a shock.
Yes.
You know how many times have I seen this, and this time around it's not going to scare me. You know, that panic that you go through when you see an exam paper, it goes away because you have the exposure of that particular environment. So the teaching and testing method worked for the learners that were not doing quite well, and then that enabled them to continue to pass. Here and there you would have challenges with cooperation. Those who won't want to listen, but at least we try and profile them so that at least out of 20, 2 should be the ones that are not listening. Because if ever they influence the rest of them to not to listen, we might have a higher failure rate, which we anticipate that every child must pass.
Yes.
Because in our communities, the only thing we have is one another.
True.
So no one should fail, but we find ourselves in spaces where there are difficulties, but we thrive even in those.
Talking about influence, right? What role do friends, let's say that we are doing the same stream, we're in the same class and we are friends, what role do friends play on each other, and what role do like the study groups, let's say that we're having study groups after school as friends, do they play there to help each other in terms of one of the learners in the group of friends is a top learner, and then the other one is getting lower results? What role do they play?
Maybe let me start and say there's a scripture. I don't know if everyone would go through the Bible, but they can just Google it. It says, iron sharpens iron, men do the countenance of one another. So it is important that when you're friends or you have people around you, it should be for the sharpening of one another. It must not be for social reasons. Yes, we understand that friendships may exist for social purposes.
Yes.
In those spaces, young people are exposing themselves to being mentored by their peers, being exposed to being guided by somebody who already have a light and clear direction. This is the way to take. But they should not go there and become spectators. They must see themselves being role players, and also setting targets and goals and say, this is what I want to achieve. Once you do what they do, you become like them. There is no any other way.
There's no any other way, right? Before okay, you want to add something?
Yeah, so on that point of
Yes.
friends, there are two types of friends. There are social friends and academic friends. Have less time for social friends and have more time for academic friends. So with the academic friends part, I'd like to advise you there. So, say David once told me that with friends, don't allow yourself to be in a group that you end up being the smarter one. If you are the smartest in the group, leave the group. Go to a group where you will feel stupid, and that's where you will learn.
So go to a group where you feel challenged, actually.
Yes.
That's an interesting idea, actually, to a lot of people out there, because it's like if you are doing good in your country, let's say you're a musician, right, and then you're doing good in the country, and then go to other countries which are overseas. When you get there, you are a nobody. No one knows you. So there you are new.
Stop competing with people that you know that they won't challenge you. You will win, because that's wasting time.
That's
you
wasting
won't improve, you won't grow.
Yes, and then in terms of the community as well, besides the friends, right? I want to know what role did the community play, because if you check in Alex, we've got a lot of schools are near taverns, or where they are, you find out that outside there's too much noise, and that can end up distracting the lessons in school. So I want to know what role did the community play in terms of one, really achieving the results that they achieved, and also the other schools that we have in Alex achieving the results that they did.
Well, the community played a very significant role. I will start with the support programs that are happening from the community through organizations into the schools. Secondly, the community organizations that are into the social well-being of the learners. So the CPF, the patrollers, the people who work from different organizations, the substance abuse, the ADAPT, they help quite a lot in our schools. Then you learn that not only do we have the ability to survive beyond the noises that are happening every weekend. In Alexandra, you learn that the culture is very vibrant. Every weekend, there's too much noise such that you may struggle to sleep. But at the very same time, the support from the community enabled our learners to overcome such circumstances. They were able to fly like eagles above the clouds. So you learn that parents would come in and assist learners during the night studies, because at home maybe the noise levels, the disruption, so we are able to isolate them from the experiences that they would have in the community by putting them in an environment that is suitable to help them achieve their results.
Mulisa, do you have anything to add?
The community behaved this time around. I mean,
Usually they don't behave.
Usually there will be shutdowns and everything, but for the past year, I think they've done well. So that also contributed in the production that we have right now.
So for you, when you're studying at home, right, you never had incident where you're like, yo, I wish like I can live here and go to maybe the suburbs because it's quiet there, it's peaceful.
Did he ever study at home?
I never studied at home, so I think I've told a lot of people this. So my strategy was that I stay around school up until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock late. Then I make sure that my work is done then. So when I go home, what I'm going to do, it was bathing, eating, then sleeping. Then I would wake up early in the morning, because there was this thing that motivated me. This other guy, I don't know his name, he once said that if you wake up early, and you will do everything before anybody else do it. I don't know if you understand. And at when I carried enough for out that one, and it as well, so that helped me to be early in class, and when my mind was still fresh, I would prepare some of the things. So I never studied at home. My home was just the guest room. I used to go
And sleep and rest.
Yeah,
For sleep.
I mean, also on the one of studying, you find that with a lot of learners out there who are not doing well, right? They assume that studying is doing homeworks. After homeworks, we're done studying. Can you give us a brief of what studying actually entails? Yes.
so studying